it's Laurie with Laurie Rivers Holistic. And today we're going to be talking about and doing an active meditation for, meditation's not quite the right word, but we're going to shift trauma. Now, I want to preclude this. I want to preface this by saying that if you experience significant trauma in your life, and you're wanting to shift that for yourself, to release that trauma for yourself, which is very important for healing. And I'll be going through why, like physical healing for chronic illnesses, right? And I'll be going through why that is, how it affects your immune system, and other things in my Dr. Talks Summit interview with Dawson Church, who is a wonderful person in the area of EFT tapping, meridian tapping, and several other areas as well. And then I also have a separate podcast episode, Laurie Rivers Holistic podcast episode, about how trauma affects our physical health and how it can keep us from healing from chronic conditions and symptoms. Before we get into the tapping, if you have experienced severe trauma, PTSD, things like that, then I just want you to be very careful with doing your tapping, right? It's much better to be working one-on-one with a practitioner, with an EFT tapping, meridian tapping practitioner who is versed in trauma and releasing trauma, because sometimes you can run into some stuff that's pretty scary, right? Now, at the same time, you can totally do this on your own as long as you feel like you have a firm foundation underneath you, right? But for most people out there, I know that for myself, when I first started addressing trauma, I needed to be working with someone else, to be in a safe space. Now, having said all that, if you are ready to do this tapping meditation with me, also know that it might give you a lot of relief. It might give you just a little bit of relief, and it might actually make your emotions, the charges of your emotions, go even higher. Now, what I find when that happens for people is a lot of times they have experienced significant trauma in childhood, usually, and that they have been suppressing it and been disconnected from their emotions for quite a while. I was there for sure. When I first got sick with ME/CFS many years ago, severe ME/CFS, I had no place to go. I was stuck with my body. I was bedbound, and I was stuck with my thoughts. And I started to do this deep work, and I realized that I was so disconnected from my body and from my emotions. So it makes sense, right? And a very effective thing for us to do, a very smart thing for us to do when we're children, because that's how we survive to get through that trauma or abuse or whatever it is that you experienced. Now, the other thing that I want to say is that not everybody dealt with huge, consistent trauma in their childhood. Not everybody dealt with abuse. There are also these, what one of my mentors calls popsicle traumas. And this is something where, for example, he had a client come to him who was like, I just can't succeed. I keep almost getting to my goals, and then I sabotage myself. As they were working, they found a traumatic memory, right? I would say that this is trauma with a little t, but it was still very impactful. And it was that when this client was young, he and his sister both asked their mother for a popsicle because the ice cream man was out front, right? I don't even know if ice cream trucks are a thing anymore, but anyway, the ice cream truck was out front. And the mother said to the sister, said, yes, you can have a popsicle because you ate all of your dinner. But to the client, when he was a little kid, she said, for you, you haven't eaten your dinner yet, so no, you can't have a popsicle. And that, as a child, what that particular client made a decision about at that point, and we do this as children, subconsciously, unconsciously, whatever, we make these decisions about ourselves. So the decision that he made about himself was that I don't deserve what I want because I'm bad, or because I didn't do it right, or fill in the blank there. So as soon as they addressed that together, the client started having more success and actually allowing himself to have what he wanted, right? So these same kinds of things can happen, that could very well have manifested by that client having developed a chronic illness because no, he couldn't allow himself to have the vibrant health that he wanted because of that experience and that decision that he made at a very young age without even realizing it, right? And that's part of the fun, actually, weirdly, the kind of weird fun of uncovering these things and of working through these traumas with a little t or traumas with a big T. Now, when you first start working on the traumas with a big T, it's not so much fun, though you do start to feel more and more relief. So I'll just tell you, when I really super delved into this, and this is what I hear from a lot of my clients and students as well, and tapping through specifics of past traumas, I would spend sometimes hours just crying as I was tapping. I don't recommend doing it for hours unless you've been doing this kind of work for a very long time, but just crying and crying. And I've had some clients and students be like, every time I start tapping, I just start crying. Sometimes I don't even know why. And that's actually a good thing, right? Crying is an energetic shift. It's an energetic release. Yawning is an energetic shift. It's an energetic release. Some people, I have a couple clients who burp it's so funny because we'll be doing one-on-one sessions and they just start burping and we both go, all right, we just shifted something. And I'm sure there are other strange things that happen when we experience those shifts. So just be aware of all this. And now we're going to get to the tapping. How about that? So what I'd like you to do is to focus on if you can take it broad, but if you can focus on a specific event that happened for you. And one of the things that a practitioner is going to be really good at is the methods that we use with tapping for trauma, for specific events in the past, is to picture it like you're watching a movie and to tap through it that way to begin with. That way you're a little bit removed from it. It's not as intense, right? And then as you go along, as you start to bring down the emotional charge, doing the tapping with the movie, then you can start to bring it more internally and go, okay, let me see if I can maybe even put myself back there. But I definitely recommend starting off with the movie, right? Okay, so take a few moments to either to identify that a specific past trauma that comes to mind, and then identify the main emotion that goes along with it. And you're going to write down both of these. And you don't have to go into a whole bunch of detail right now. And then I'd like you to rate the event overall and the emotion on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 is the most negatively intense. Now, if you don't remember things from your childhood, which that was the case for me, that's okay too. You can actually make things up, right? If, for example, that your father yelled at you a lot, you just have that knowing in the back of your head, then you can make up a scenario of that time that he yelled at me, or you can just say all those times that he yelled at me. And maybe there was fear involved there, or maybe there was disbelief involved there, right? So whatever that is for you, write it down, scale of 0 to 10. And then as you're ready, we're going to start doing this tapping, remembering, please, that you are the CEO of your own well-being, of your own health, and that I am not a mental health expert. I am not a licensed mental health expert. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I've been doing this for a long time, but you are responsible for your own well-being. Yeah. All right. So tapping on the side of the hand, and you're gonna just follow me, right? What I do, and repeat these words after me as well. All right. Even though this thing happened to me in the past, and it caused me a lot of pain, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Still tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I'm still carrying around a lot of that stuff, that pain, that anger, that fear, I deeply and completely love and accept myself and honor my feelings. Still tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I experienced this horrible thing, this super difficult thing, or this thing that maybe I feel like shouldn't be affecting me now, but maybe it is. I choose to love and accept myself. And maybe even to start moving towards forgiving anybody else who is involved. Notice that I said maybe. You don't have to get there right this second at all. And if that causes a lot of resistance for you, that's okay too, right? You don't have to forgive them right now. You can be super angry with them and not forgive them. That's okay too. Tapping on the inner eyebrow. All these things that happened, or this particular thing that happened. Outer eye. All the pain that it caused me. Under the eye. All the suffering that it caused me. Under the nose. All this pain and suffering and emotion that I'm still carrying. Under the mouth. And I choose to allow myself to feel it in my body right now. Collarbone. It's safe to allow myself to feel all of this emotion, all of these sensations under the arm, even if it's just 1% right now. Top of the head, allowing myself to soften around this memory of what happened. Inner eyebrows, allowing myself to soften around all of these emotions, around what happened. Outer eye, and I choose to release this trauma, even just a little bit. Under the eye, I have a right to be free of this. Under the nose, I don't need to be loyal to anybody else and hold on to this pain. Under the mouth, part of me might think that I do need to hold on to it. Collarbone, part of me might believe that I need to hold on to this pain and to this fear. Under the arm, and to be constantly vigilant. Top of the head, to make sure this never happens again. Inner eyebrow, but I also know from past experience, outer eye, that being constantly vigilant doesn't keep it from happening. Under the eye, and I also acknowledge that I'm in a very different situation now. Under the nose, and it's exhausting to be constantly vigilant. Under the mouth, it's exhausting to be constantly looking for disaster and for danger. Collarbone, and I think that I've had enough pain and suffering. Under the arm, and I'm ready to let go of at least some of this vigilance, maybe all of it. Top of the head, releasing it from every cell of my body. Inner eyebrow, and releasing it all the way back through my past. Side of the eye, maybe even all the way back through my ancestors' past. Under the eye, because it's not serving me anymore. Under the nose. But if I do let go of this pain, this fear, this anger, under the mouth, does that mean that I'm forgiving these people? Collarbone, maybe I don't believe that they deserve to be forgiven. Under the arm, and maybe I need to hang on to this pain and anger to punish them. Top of the head, but the only one that is really being punished by doing this is myself. And I have suffered enough. Outer eye, I deserve to be free from all of this. Under the eye, releasing all or even just 1% of this pain. Under the nose, setting myself free from the fear. Under the mouth, releasing myself from all the anger. Collarbone, all of that fear that I experienced. Under the arm, and any false decisions that I made about myself or about the world or about other people. Top of the head, any false decision that I made about my own deservedness of a good, easy, healthy life. Inner eyebrow, and any fear that I think I need to protect me. Outer eye, I can now find better ways to take care of myself. Under the eye, and I'm here right now. Under the nose, and whatever happened to me in the past, I made my way through it. Under the mouth, and I choose to acknowledge how strong I am. Collarbone, I choose to feel more confident in myself and the world. under the arm, and I choose to really love myself just as I am right now. So allowing myself to release this, to be free of this, and to fully and completely love myself right now. And releasing, give yourself a few moments here, and depending on how you feel, you might even pause the video here and just give yourself time to bathe in whatever it is that you're experiencing. And it would be super fun for you now to take a look at your ratings that you wrote down before we started doing the tapping, and re-rate that event and re-rate the emotions or emotion, right? And I would love to know from you. You can shoot us, say, an email or in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, to let us know what you were tapping on before. And you don't have to get specific if that doesn't feel good to you, but maybe what emotion you were tapping on before, and what the rating was before and what the rating is now. And if you did, in fact, go up in your rating, that's good news too, right? That's letting you know that, oh my gosh, I've been out of touch with this for a while. So let me keep on doing some tapping here, or let me get in touch with a practitioner to work on this one-on-one to really get through this. And I also highly recommend watching the other Lori Rivers Holistic podcast episode that I have about how trauma affects your body and how it can contribute to chronic illness and even cause it sometimes. Or watch the Dr. Talks interview with Dawson Church. Yeah, let me know how that goes for you too. All right, please do share this with your loved ones, with people that you think even possibly would benefit from it. And I will see you again soon. Lots and lots of love.